What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in, and today I'm going to be giving you my 8 personal tips about studying abroad. Number 1, your plane ticket. I recommend you to buy your plane tickets ahead of time, several months in advance, because the prices for these plane tickets go up every single day. You do not want to be that person who is looking for a plane ticket 2 weeks before the program starts. You'll be scrambling through all of these websites, and chances are you will not be getting the best deal. You're also going to want to be very flexible with your departure date. In case of any emergencies, you want to make sure that you get to your host country 1 week ahead of time so that you also have time to go explore around and get used to the environment. If you're looking for more affordable plane tickets, I recommend you to look at flight comparison sites. They'll compare flight prices from different websites to help you find a more affordable way of getting around. Also, don't forget to check out the baggage limit and item restrictions because between each airline they differ from each other. A quick side note, if you are traveling long distance, just know that the meal plans have already been included in your payment from when you first bought the ticket. Another important thing that you should have at all times is your passport and your flight confirmation. You can have it in a form of a piece of paper, or you can have it in your phone. Just be sure that you have access to it at all times. Tip number 2, as soon as you get off that airplane, make sure you go out and get a SIM card because having access to the internet is very important, especially in this day and age because everything is handled online. Having access to the internet will help you navigate your way around your environment and also allow you to download all of the necessary apps for that country. Which, on a side note, before you even depart to your host country, you should have already downloaded all the necessary apps that you need, such as translators or your version of Google Maps, a currency exchange app, and etc. My third personal tip would be to plan your travel trips ahead of time. If you're planning to travel around your host country, be sure to plan that trip out from start to finish before the trip even starts. You should plan how long you stay at each destination. For example, I went to Japan with a friend and we decided how long we should stay in Kyoto, Tokyo, and Osaka. Not only that, we also had our hotels lined up from each of those places ahead of time, including transportation means. We bought 2 JR passes and made sure that it lasted the whole trip. If you don't know what a JR pass, it's basically just a train pass that you buy at Japan, and it is relatively expensive. You should plan out where you will be staying for the night before the trip even starts because you don't want to be wandering out in the streets at night and trying to find a place to sleep. Most likely all the places are going to be booked out, especially during the holidays. You should have an overall budget for that trip. For example, you should have a budget of $300 that you're going to be spending in this trip, and keeping track of your budget, making sure that you have enough for the whole length that you're going to be staying in that country. Planning ahead of time has made our travel so much easier and enjoyable because we were prepared and we had a plan. Our trip to Japan was a success, but there's only one thing that we missed. So our flight back to Korea was set to leave at 2 a.m. and not 2 p.m. My friend and I overlooked this detail because on the website they used military time, which was something that we didn't account for. By the time we found out that our plane was going to leave at 2 a.m. in the morning, it was already 12 a.m. We had less than 2 hours to get to the airport, and our clothes were still in the washing machine. Our luggage was all over the place, and it took us 2 cabs that costed over $100 just to get to the airport. We barely made it on time. We were rushing. We didn't even know if there was a line at TSA. We had trouble finding our gate. It was just a mess. But luckily, we were able to catch our flight. This was not a way that I wanted to leave Japan because it was truly tragic. So here is a mistake that you can learn from us is to double check, triple check, quadruple check your flight. Tip number 4, be open-minded. Be ready to accept that you will make mistakes abroad. It is a learning process. Do not try to force your native culture onto the locals because that is highly disrespectful and very, very ignorant. I've seen these kind of things happen and it just really ruins your whole experience abroad. So please be prepared to learn new things and see things from a different perspective and accept that there are things that you don't know in life. And if you don't want to, then you don't have to study abroad. Here's my tip number 5. Immerse yourself into the environment and enjoy being in the moment and sucking up the life that they have to offer over there because bottom line, your journey abroad will end. And by meaning enjoy the moment, I don't mean go out and party every night because you are there to study and go to class, but you're also there to learn how it is like to live in their country. Looking back now, my study abroad trip in South Korea ended within like a blink of an eye. I could have gone to sleep one night, then wake up the next day, and I'm already back in my home country. That's how fast the trip went. You should make a list of things that you want to visit and check them off as you go by because you do not want to have any regrets leaving the country. Go visit museums, theme parks, tourist attractions, all that stuff, and etc. Tip number 6. Appreciate all the friends and connections that you've made abroad. The friends that you make abroad are not just temporary friends. They can be lifelong friends if you choose for it to be that way. All the moments that you share together is going to be very, very special because there will not be another time like this where you get to create memories in the same setting. The memories that you guys make together is there to stay, so cherish your friends because the odds are that your trip will eventually end. You might never ever get to see them ever again. You're going to want to leave on a good note with all your friends because one day you might come back to the country and they will be the ones who will be helping you out in the future. Also, don't forget to connect with your friends on social media and touch bases with them from time to time. My tip number 7, and it's how to deal with being homesick. One way that I dealt with being homesick was actually studying abroad with a friend. Just the fact that I had somebody to connect with and talk about home made everything so much better because I was not alone. Not only that, you guys can also rant to each other and moderate your stress levels. And best of all, you guys can travel together and create unforgettable memories. Or if you don't have anybody to go with, you can bring something that reminds you of home. For example, like a photograph of your family. It's very lightweight and it carries a lot of emotional support. And my 8th final tip. I'm going to be talking to you about roommates. Bottom line, if you are a person who enjoys your own space, get a room to yourself. If you are a needy clean freak like me, get your own place. Because the chances of you finding a person like yourself is very, very, very unlikely. I had the chance to live in the dorms with roommates or live off campus with my own room, and I chose to live off campus and I got my own room. This made life so much easier and it was totally worth it, and I recommend you do that if you do not want any roommates. Thank you very much for watching. These are my 8 personal tips to study abroad. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, please feel free to drop them down in the comments below. And if you have not seen my other 3 videos yet, please check them out because I guarantee you they will be very, very useful because they have a lot of other information about studying abroad. Have a nice day, everybody.